Hey guys, welcome to Simply Fishing. I'm Lowell Henderson, your host. And today, or this morning, I am fishing one of my favorite farm ponds. I've been fishing the new Duck River Reservoir for the past few weeks, and I thought I'd give it a break and get somewhere where there's nobody else. And I've heard that the bass have been biting pretty good over here, and I just wanted to take an hour or so and just kind of relax. Throw a worm, get some bites, and just enjoy a beautiful summer morning. And so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay away from the crowds. Just gonna fish how I like to fish, throwing a plastic worm, and just relaxing. And that's what it's all about. It's not about how big a fish or how many a fish. It's just being out in the outdoors. And I mean, I have literally I've started fishing right exactly where I put my boat in. Don't know if you can see my van right up here to the side, but I could reach out and touch my van with my rod. It's so close. And I've seen activity all over the pond. I'm assuming it's probably bluegill getting, because there's little bugs tapping the water everywhere. But I got a Texas rig, 8-inch scoundrel, made by Cream in the June bug color. And I've got let's see what I got. It's either a 6 or 8-inch scoundrel drop shot rig. And that's gonna be my two rigs and my two baits for the day. I may swap baits, but those are my two rigs I'm gonna stick with. My Texas rig will let me get out here to my deeper water quicker. My drop shot rig, it'll fish the deeper water as well, but I'm gonna doodle that thing around the grass lines, pull it up off the bottom just a little bit, and I think it'll do very well along the grass. A lot of people think drop shot, immediately they go to deep water fishing, but that's not the case for me. I have other applications that I use it for. Top water, or not top water, but deep water for me, I like the drop shot in the winter time, fishing deep water. Summertime, I use it more actually shallow water. But right now we're starting out with a Texas rig, just looking for a bite along this first grass line. We're actually fishing along the dam of this pond. There's a bite. Don't know if he's gonna hang. Yes, he hung on. So within about the first 5 minutes, we got a bite and a pretty active fish. He wants to jump and cut up. That's what I came for. Get some bites. All right, buddy, cut it out. Let's get you in here. Oh, barely got him. Pretty little pond bass. Don't let anybody fool you. Pond fishing, sometimes it's easier than lake fishing, sometimes it's not. I've fished ponds before, and you couldn't have bought a bite on those days. The day before, I had been fishing on a lake. Fish were just turned on. I thought, well, see, if they're turned on that much on the lake, well, surely they're going to be turned on the ponds. Well, not necessarily the case. Every body of water that you go to is a big puzzle. Those of you that follow me, you've heard me use that term before. But it is, you figured the puzzle out. Just like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, you put the pieces together every time you hit the water. Now that bass, I had made cast out here deep, probably 9-10 feet deep. I'd put a couple of casts right on the bank, nothing. About 5 feet off the bank was where I got that bite. Now, I'm putting another one back out there. Does that mean every fish is going to be 5 feet off the bank? No, not necessarily. But that's what I'm here to find out. Are they in certain places, or are they scattered? Pond fish, a lot of times you'll catch one deep, you'll catch one shallow, you'll catch them mid-level, and then other days you won't get a bite. Then you have to really begin to put that puzzle, put that pattern together, and figure out, hey, what am I doing wrong? Well, right now we've gotten lucky. First fish in about 5 minutes, 5 or 6 feet off the bank, which leads me to believe I haven't even turned my depth finder on yet, and I know I'm sitting right in the weeds, so that fish is probably going to be 4 or 5 feet deep. So the morning bite may be that draws them up into the weeds. That may be over for now. They may move back in anytime during the day and feed again, or they may wait till late this evening, or as it gets dark, they may do it. I may not get a bite around the edges like I had hoped. I may have to pull off the bank a little bit, but as I go around, right now the wind's keeping me tucked up to this bank, so I want to work this bank while I can take advantage of this wind and see if I can pull another strike out right here before I even touch my paddle and move. We'll drag the old drop shot rig out. And work this grass line. I know the first bass came off the bank, but I got to give the grass line enough chances to let me know, hey, that's not where they're at, or that may be where they're at. Can't go by one bite. One bite will give you a clue. Many bites will put the pieces in place to let you know, hey, this is a workable pattern that we want to do. So I am putting it right against the bank. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling that worm up off that bottom about 6 inches and shaking it. It's not sitting right on the bottom the whole time. It comes up off the bottom. So if they want it, all they have to do is rush in and grab it. I got robbed. I thought I had a bite. I wasn't sure and I hesitated. And all that did was lose me a fish. With a drop shot rig, I do like to give them a chance to get it in their mouth, but that fish held on, and when I set the hook, it just ripped the worm out of its mouth. But no harm, no foul. We'll bait right back up, get right back in there. Now, I didn't put the exact same color back on. I went with a black in a 6-inch. I'm gonna see if I got several different colors, sizes. Even got some little crawls. So I may swap up several times, but I'm sticking with the drop shot and the Texas rig, no matter which bait I go to. That's gonna be my show today. Drop shotting in shallow water and Texas rig in shallow water in the hot, hot summer. Get my fish finder fired up and I'll see what the water temp is. I'm gonna guess it's in the low 90s. Alright guys, I've changed up what I said I was going to do just a little bit. I took my weight off my Texas rig worm and now I'm throwing it as a floating worm. I want to try that up around these edges. I'm continuing to see activity. I don't know if that activity's been bluegill, brim, or bass, or I'd know better if my little anchor would hold. Oh. Well, my anchor did not hold. Now I want to show you what I've gone to with my drop shot rig. This is my shallow water drop shot rig. It's a ST Crawl made by Cream in the chameleon color. And that thing changes color, hence the name chameleon. When you hold it up one way, it's brown. When the sunlight hits it another way, parts of it turn like a violet purple, which if you know anything about crawfish, they go through stages of color change. And this is a tremendous little bait that I've caught so many fish on. You can find it online. They're hard to find local. You just almost have to order them online. You can look them up, creamlure.com, and look up ST Crawl. They have all kinds of different colors, but the one that I really like, especially in the fall, spring, fall, I really like this chameleon, which I know the pumpkins and the watermelon seeds and all those are favorites for most people, but the chameleon changes color. As it goes along the bottom, and the light hits it in a different way, it changes color. And that's something you just don't get with other baits. There's not any other baits out there like this. It's tremendous. I use it so many different ways. I use them as spinnerbait trailers. I use them on a shaky head by themselves. Texas rig by themselves. You can flip them off down into cover. I use them on this drop shot. They are the absolute best jig trailers, I think, in the world. Like I said, you go to Cream Lure, www.creamlure.com, and search for the ST Crawl. They have them in, I believe they have them in the Pro Series and the regular series. And I believe the only difference, the Pro Series will have salt where your other ones do not. I could be wrong on that, I'll double check that. But either way, these are tremendous baits. Whether they're gonna take them here today, I don't know. These are some of my favorite of all time baits to fish when I go to the Mulberry River, where there's a lot of rocks. There's not a lot of rocks here. There are a few crawfish in this pond, but not as plentiful as the Mulberry River. Now they may not eat it today. I may have to go back to my little black worm, but I had to try it because I had one laying in my box while I was tying on. I said, man, I got to put that on. Sometimes you have to try things just because of how well they've done in the past. And that's not always a smart thing, but we live and we learn and we by our mistakes. And it's hard not to use a bait that has produced so well for you in the past, or at least give it a try when you're on an outing. Especially if it's the same time of year. Watercolor's pretty close to the last time it worked for me. My little ST Crawl doesn't seem to be the color they want today. So, and I still see and hear activity all around me. I'm going back to the black. Actually, I'm going back to a black and blue stick bait, another one of my favorite cream baits. It's basically Cream's version of the Senko. Works extremely well when the conditions are right, and we're about to find out if they're right. But time to make a move. Oh man. Hit and run. Oh, he came back. Got him. Oh, and he came off. Had two chances at that fish and still didn't get him. Or either there was more than one fish. Either way, I didn't get the fish, but I got a good solid, really solid bite. Oh my goodness. I had another runner running with my bait. Robbed me again. These are some of the thievingest little fish today. I've tried many different colors. The result seems to be the same. They're either grabbing it by the tail, running off with it, or I'm getting brim and bluegill bites. They're running off with it, and I'm ripping the hook off on hook set. Now I'm going with the cream 6-inch live scoundrel. It's in the live color. It's a natural. Looks just like a old earthworm that crawled off in the water and got himself in a bad place. There's one. Oh yeah, got me while I was fooling with the anchor. Wind kicked me back out in the middle. Pretty good fish. If I can get her up here. Come on, she threw my little worm out. Easy, baby. Barely hooked. Came right out. Pretty good little old fish, real white looking fish. Been in that mud, down there along the bottom up in them weeds. Smashed that little live color cream scoundrel. No doubt about it. When it hit, it hit. Back you go. We will rig up with another one. See if my line's frayed. Nope, feels pretty good. That fish didn't touch anything but the worm and the hook. Wind's got me out here in the middle. We'll just sit here for a minute. We might get a cast back up there where that one was at. That fish hit really hard. There's no mistaking that that was a bite. That's what you want. You want to know, hey, that's a bite. I don't have to fool with that. But he got it so fast and ran off. He'd hooked himself, basically. I didn't have a lot of hook setting to do with that one. And I'm glad he stayed buttoned up because he just barely was caught. And he jumped a couple of times, which could have very easily slung that hook out, and I'd have been one more for the fish, and that's been the story today. Get the bites and lose the fish, but I'm proud that I've got the bites anyway. That fish was also out a little deeper water, probably about 6 or 7 feet deep. So I'm making my cast now to a little deeper water. I've been beating the banks all morning like everybody does, just looking for a bite. Well, the bite may be out deeper than I thought. I saw a lot of activity all over the pond, which I do believe a lot of it's going to be panfish eating bugs. I don't think all that activity's been bass. I think my bass may have moved. For the most part, at least the bigger fish, I think have probably moved out off the bank for now. They'll probably move and run the banks tonight when it really cools the water off a little bit. Right now it's showing 88.7. Well, guys, it's been a lot of fun out here today. I've not caught tons of fish like I had hoped, but a couple, and a lot of bites that I missed. That's just part of fishing. Sometimes you miss fish. I've had to deal with the wind a little bit, which ain't been too bad. I could have brought a bigger anchor and been more stationary, maybe fished a few spots longer than I would have if I'd have didn't get pushed off of them. But overall, it's been a very enjoyable day. Once again, the cream scoundrel worms have been my go-to bait when things are tough. It's tough in the hot summertime, and these baits have got me some bites today. That's all you can ask out of a bait, is just give you the bites and give you the chance to get the fish on the line. And time after time, the cream worms, they do that for me. I can see that my battery life on my camera is about down, and it'll shut off just any minute. I just want to take a second and thank each and every one of you for tuning in and watching me. Those of you that have supported me the last 2 or 3 years, I appreciate you very much. I don't know how much longer my camera's gonna hang in there today. I think the sun tends to zap it when it gets this hot outside. The battery doesn't last as long. That's just part of having to deal with electronics. That's one of those deals. But guys, thank you so much. Once again, I'm Lowell Henderson. This is Simply Fishing. Tune in again next time, and you guys stay safe on the water. Catch a lot of fish. I'll see you next time.